Welcome to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and this is a space where women who value achievement, success, accomplishment, and wealth, but also crave happiness, love, joy, and deep fulfillment come to remember that we get to have both. Not by doing more, but by being more of who we truly are. In this show, we explore identity, energy, alignment, and embodiment because you didn't come here to follow someone else's rules. You came to right your own. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the show, where today we are going to talk about the reasons why you are doing the work and the work isn't working. I actually did a podcast like this in the very, very beginning, and it was more in theory, and this is more like practical. Let me tell you some stories of what's catching you up. And this comes from just conversations with clients and with people who are interested in my work, and just even my friends who are like, well, I've been doing the personal development work. Maybe I have been seeing a therapist. I've been listening to podcasts. I've been reading books. I've been trying to maybe meditate or do some things, right? Where people are like, I'm making a conscious effort to be more mindful of my thoughts. I'm making a conscious effort of how I take care of myself, but it feels like I'm still not seeing the results that I want to create. And I literally experience this forever, right? I tell this story so often, right? That I could teach intentional reality creation backwards and forwards. I understood manifestation, and I understood universal laws, and I understood my role as identity. So I intellectually understood it, but I wasn't actually doing it. And so these are the things, the patterns that I've seen over the past 9 months or so in my clients that are also showing me that, oh, Ryan, these were the kind of potholes on your journey that slowed down or kept things active for way too long. So I don't know if in this show, I have 10 reasons. I have 10 ideas that I have scripted out. If this is going to wind up being 1 or 2 parts, and it's really going to depend on how deep I go into the examples. Once I get flowing as I record, I always start with notes. I think you guys know that. I've voice memo to myself what I want to say, and then I put it into ChatGPT, and it organizes my notes and ideas. And I use that to stay flowing. But this one in particular, because I have so many examples of this, I might go really deep and break this into a part 1 and a part 2. But either way, there's 10 specific ones that we're going to go into today that I think is really, really important. So the first one is obsession with results. And this is going to be a challenging one to break because this is how we have been taught to move through the world, right? When you decide to have a career or start a business or become a real estate agent or a mortgage lender or whatever it is that you do, you automatically step into doer energy, which is masculine energy, right? And masculine energy is very focused on results, getting a result, there being a finish line. And while that is all well and good, and I'm not saying that we don't want results, and I'm not saying that we're not going to create things, the energy game, and very specifically playing in the dreamer, which is our feminine energy, and what I call the alchemist is when we're really using the two together really powerfully and truly step into our creator role. When we do that, it's got to be less about the result, because a focus on results creates a gap, right? If I'm where I am and I say by the end of this month I want to have 4 new clients, right? I'm automatically starting at a deficit. I'm automatically starting from behind, which is an energy of lack. That is automatically an energy of lack. And so when we put out that energy of lack, we're only a match for more lack, and it puts us in chasing energy. And what I often say is what we chase runs away, right? Personal development, if you can wrap your head around this one thing, it will change everything for you. When you stop doing this work for the results, for what you can get, and instead start doing the work for the type of person you want to be, how you want to move through the world, how you want to live, how you want to interact with people, what sort of professional impact you want to make on the world, it becomes less about the outcomes and more about the becoming, right? How do I become the best version of myself? How do I become the person who is an energetic match to what I say that I want versus how do I go create something? You know how to create stuff, right? That's also part of the problem here, right? You're wanting to step into more feminine energy. You want to step into more creation instead of forcing an effort, right? You want to create more, you want to step into more attraction, not force. And so in order to do that, you're going to have to, it's going to be very uncomfortable, but you're going to have to be okay with the idea that I'm going to have to let go of the outcome for a little while, because the outcome, chasing an outcome and chasing a timeline is always going to create an energy of chasing. I've got to go make it happen. I've got to go do it. This is where you have been, right? This is the mind game as a whole. This is our masculine energy in full on force. But again, that's not what we want moving forward. So if you want to do something different, you're going to have to react differently. And it's really letting go of that outcome. The second part of this is also then personal development becomes something that you feel like you have to do, right? You have to do meditation. You have to do your affirmations, right? It becomes this thing on your checklist. Like, oh, okay, I want to be a better person and I want to think more positively and I want to tap into this manifestation law of attraction stuff. So check, I'll make sure that I meditate every day. But again, it's I'm doing something to get something. That winds up being an exchange. That's masculine energy. That's not manifestation. Again, I'm not saying that you can't create results this way. This is what's really fucked up and weird, because obviously you know that you can create results through effort, through force. You've been doing that your entire life. So the obsession with the outcome is a habit. And once you realize that the obsession with the outcome is just a habit, and just like any habit, it can be changed when supported correctly, right? Then we can start having a different conversation. But when we try to do personal development the way you do business, right? When you try to force outcomes the way that you try to force outcomes in the business, you're out of the magic energy. There is no magic in that. So when we can learn to change the scorecard, right? Like so often we're keeping score, which is also very masculine energy. We are keeping score. And when we keep score, there's a scorecard, right? And in a scorecard, there's a winner and there's a loser. We need to change the scorecard, right? If you really want to play the energy game and you really want to create your reality intentionally, you have to realize that the scorecard has to change. And the number one priority has to be you. And until you make you and the way you feel and your desires the number one focus of your life, the results are always going to be outside of you. The results are always going to be lackluster because, again, those are results created through force, through masculine energy, which is outside of what you're really craving right now. So it's being willing to, can I look at progress different, right? Can I celebrate different milestones? So instead of maybe celebrating an outcome of I booked an appointment today, right? This is more sales driven. Instead of, I genuinely connected with 5 new people and I genuinely went onto social media and interacted with these people. But again, making it different types of results that allow you to win more frequently, that are more about what are the activities and celebrating the activity and celebrating the win in those activities is going to loosen up that energy and get to the space where you can attract, right? Instead of just forcing the outcomes. Okay, the second thing that you are very likely doing is that you don't actually believe that you're the one creating. You don't actually believe that it is as simple as I am telling you that it is. So even though you want to be somebody who believes in manifestation and intentional reality creation, you want to be somebody who has this beautiful life of ease and flow and magic, you want to play in this alchemist energy all the time, you don't actually believe in it. So you keep this safety net, right? Like I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do this intentional reality creation thing. I want to meditate. I want to say that I'm going to do the things, and maybe I'm going to go to the retreat or whatever that looks like, we start to go into this way, but we don't actually believe that that's what's creating the results. So then now we're just trying to do self-care and personal development while we go over here and still try to do all the things that we're doing in the business because we don't believe that it is our energy that is creating. And if you prioritize these top 2 things, the rest of the list doesn't really matter. So letting go of the outcome and actually believing how we create outcomes. If you can do those 2 things of realizing that the only reason why I have the results that I have is because I am the one who created them and I can choose to create them any way that I want to. And again, I understand the dissonance that this creates in your body because this is so different than what we've been taught. This is so different than what we have seen. And your energy, your vibrational frequency right now, your set point, your point of attraction is so wrapped up in the way that it is that you can't even begin to imagine that it could be different. And this is literally how you start doing the work. I talk to my clients about this all the time. Like it's really hard to flip a Yui in a car going 100 miles an hour. That's what most people try to do when they learn about this work, right? Like, oh, cool. I'm going 100 miles an hour in the opposite direction. I'm all in, hustle, hard work, suffer, sacrifice, do shit you hate, just double down. You can torture yourself to the promised land. That's the energy that you're putting out in the world right now. And you want to turn around and do an about face in the opposite direction. And that is hard, right? It breaks everything. Believe me, I know. So if we could, the reason why my clients see such results so quickly is we work on releasing resistance and slowing the car down before we turn it around, right? And this doesn't have to take a lot of time, but you do have to loosen up. But it all becomes in the idea of realizing that it is me. It is attraction-based. You are attracting your reality based on the frequency that you put out. And if you can really wrap your head around this, that the only reason that those clients are assholes to me is because I have an expectation or there's a possibility in my awareness that I could have a client who doesn't treat me well. The only reason why I don't have the amount of money that I want in the bank is because I am increasingly aware of the fact that it's not there and I don't think it's available to me. And I think that you have to know that you have to take that responsibility in order for this process to work. So again, you can do the practices, right? You can do the affirmations, you can do the breath work, you can do the meditation, you can do the scripting, you can go to all the retreats in the world. But if you still think that there's something outside of you that is going to create a result for you, you're not going to get the results that you want. Or you're still going to live in this push pull world. And again, I'm not saying this from judgment. This is personal experience and stuff that I see with my clients, right? So until you really, truly sell yourself on the truth that this works because I'm the one creating it, you will doubt your way out of the overflow of results, right? You will create the results that you think are possible. But if you want like overflow magic, more on top of more, you have to believe that the only reason I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing is because something in me is a match to this. And the most important thing for me to take care of is changing my frequency, changing my energy, changing my vibration, changing my focus, changing what I'm thinking about, changing how I'm feeling, changing the perspective of which I'm viewing the world. And when you start to see that as the work, the results, again, naturally become a byproduct, right? This is where, get releasing the outcome. Because again, the outcome is still based on this outside of me thing. When I realize I'm the one creating it, it's not the outcome that needs to change. It's me that needs to change. That's why these first two things are so important. And the faster that you can dig into this and the more that you can build this belief and rewire your belief system that these two things are what's really important, is the faster you'll see the results, right? The third reason why you're not seeing the results that you want, or you're doing the work and it's not working for you, is because you are chasing external fixes. So this is a little bit different than believing that you're the one creating it. Now we're talking about believing that it is the thing outside of you that is making you feel the way that you feel. You are still chasing the money. You are still chasing the corner office. You are still chasing the number of followers. You are still chasing, that award. And you think that once that thing happens, and as long as that is your primary frequency, that is your primary vibration, that is your primary thought, that is your primary focus, that is going to be your primary experience. So again, these are all layering on top of one another. I hope you see this. And this is how I teach in all of my programs, right? It's layering, it's making it simple and layering, and making it simple and layering, right? So we have to detach from the outcomes because outcomes are external, right? Then we have to believe the one we're actually creating it. And now we need to realize that the only way that we are going to actually get the external thing that we want is that if we match it first, right? So if it's still, I'm so happy in my relationship. And I mean, like, my personal experience is I'm so happy in my relationship. Like, my relationship with Derek is one of the most precious things, right? Like, the kids are thriving, everything is going so well, but the business still isn't where I want it to be, right? That has been my primary vibration for a while now. So it's like, oh, all these other things are really great, but, right? And that but, if you can feel that, has a resistance to it. And when there is a resistance, it means that I am not owning the fact that I'm the one creating it. There is still something outside of me that needs to change. So what I've been very intentionally working on is that the business is going amazing and growing every single day. The business is going amazing and growing every single day. The business is growing amazing and going every single day. And as long as I continue to tell myself that story, I don't actually need the results in the business to change for me to feel like, oh my gosh, we've got all this momentum. And guys, the shift that I've seen in such a short period of time by just making that, like, if you're at this point where it's not going to be okay until the result happens, I'm not going to be okay without the result, you're disconnected, you're separate, you're not owning your role as creator, and you're certainly cannot be a vibrational match to what you're calling in. And so looking for that external thing, right? I will behave differently with these people when they stop acting that way, right? Once my husband acts differently, I'll be happy. Once I X number of dollars, then all of these problems will go away, right? We wait so often on the thing outside of us. And again, we wind up in waiting. Waiting energy begets waiting energy, right? So as long as your happiness, your fulfillment, your joy, your magic, your fullest expression of yourself is contingent upon external factors, you actually delay true change. And again, this is where we get stuck. We get stuck here. I got stuck here, guys, for a long time. Because for me personally, it was, again, the business. So I believed I had very little resistance about I could be in this beautiful, loving, connected relationship. I have very little resistance to my children being happy and healthy and thriving and getting good grades and doing well in school and making friends, right? Like, I have no resistance to that, right? But again, there's still a lot of resistance in business just because of what I have seen, experienced, reacted to in those beliefs. And I'm still working on releasing that every single day. And again, this goes with releasing the outcome and releasing the outside thing, and realizing that if I want the outside thing to be built in a really aligned way, in a really intuitive way, then I have to go first. You go first. If you're chasing an external thing to create happiness and fulfillment and love and joy, that's why the work's not working. Okay? Now, again, small nuances, guys, but you're at this point in your journey where it is the little things. I've been talking to my clients about this a lot lately, right? There is Manifestation 101, and that's certainly available here on this podcast. And I love talking about that. This is definitely going to be more of like a 201 or a 301 conversation where it's like, I understand I'm the one creating. And now it's the small nuances in the things that I have been doing to make sure that I actually am creating intentionally. And so the fourth reason that oftentimes the work isn't working is because you're looking outside of yourself for an answer, right? And this actually came through for me when a client was talking to me about something, and she was like, bottom line me here, right? Is it energy or is it skill? Like, what is more important in building a business? And this particular client is a business owner, not a real estate agent, but like a business owner who's building her own business. And she's like, which one in it? Like, do I need to go out and get these skills? I've never done these things before, right? Like I've never had to create content. I've never had to create curriculum. I've never had to think about marketing in this way. She's a health coach, right? And which one of these things, like, which one am I supposed to prioritize? Because the world overwhelmingly tells us to prioritize the skill, right? Most people would have told this woman, oh, if you don't have any experience in marketing, you should go learn marketing. Or, oh, if you don't have any experience in like creating curriculum and creating programs, you should probably go, buy a course and learn how to do that. And I told her that I don't believe that to be true, right? The energy is the most important part when we start something new. Skills become easy and interesting when we're aligned, right? And so what I mean by this is that the skills become easy and natural to want to learn when we are aligned. So if you are not aligned, right? I'm going to give you a very specific example. Somebody's like, I feel like I need to be better on video. Like I have to start doing video marketing. Everybody in my industry is doing video marketing. It's important for me to be doing video marketing. And she's like, I'm thinking of buying this course about video marketing. And I'm like, I think that's a terrible idea. Because if you don't want to learn video marketing and you're not excited about doing video marketing and you're only doing video marketing because you feel like you have to, learning the skill of video marketing is a waste of time, right? So that's why is it like skill or energy? If you're somebody who's like, I'm so excited, I know that video marketing is how I want to grow my business. And I really feel powerfully about this. And I feel strongly that this is going to be something that's really going to help me to go learn this skill. Then we go learn the skill, and then it's fun to learn. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like I'm torturing myself trying to master something I have no interest in. I'm learning a skill that is aligned with what I'm creating, right? So again, so often we think it's skills and things that we have to have, whether we want them or not, whether there's something that interests us, whether that's actually the way that we want to grow our business or not, right? So many people come to me and tell me like everybody else is doing it this way and I need to learn this thing, but I can tell from their energy that they don't want to learn that thing at all. And so that's when I tell you it's energy over skill, right? Once your energy's aligned, once you know what you want to do, once you're aligned with what you want to create and what you're doing in the world, then if there are skills you need to go master in order to be good at that, by all means do that. But it shouldn't feel like an obligation. It should feel like a natural part of the journey. It's the question you have to ask yourself is, am I looking for something outside of myself to solve a problem, like to fix it for me? Or am I looking to grow because this is the natural next step? And I think you will feel in your body the difference between those two things if you really pay attention, right? So I'm not saying here that strategy and skill aren't important and they aren't wrong, or they are wrong, but the intention matters, right? If you are outsourcing your power to that thing, the work will not land. And I tell this story so often in my live launching experience, right? When I started my business back in 2019, I made my first $1 million live launching, which is a way that you host live trainings and live sessions and pitch your programs. And it's this 9-day thing. And it was very nuanced from the person that I learned it from, right? And it worked for me because I believed in it, right? Like I believed so much in live launching because I watched this woman do it. And I'm like, well, she can do it. I can do it. And then I did it. And I started having success. And I saw all these other people having success. And so I thought it was live launching that built my business, right? But it was my belief in live launching that built my business. It was belief in myself to execute the live launch well, right? It was the belief that people wanted to buy my stuff, right? And so it wasn't just the strategy. I had to believe in the strategy, yes, and the strategy was instrumental in my success, but I could have chosen any strategy and had the same amount of success if I had had that same energy where I believed in the strategy and I believed in my ability to execute on the strategy and I believed in what I was selling. I believed at the price point I was selling it. I could quite literally use any strategy to sell things. And I have proven that over and over and over again over the past 6 years, right? That it is not the strategy. But so often when we aren't getting the results that we want and we feel like we're doing the work and we get impatient, we think it must be something I'm doing wrong, so I'm going to go learn something else. And that's not the answer, right? So I'm hoping you could feel the energetic difference between the two, where I'm not just talking shit on skills. I'm basically, it is the intention behind why am I learning this thing? And again, what is the energetic exchange that I'm looking for? Remember, I'm the one creating my reality. I am really excited about creating a reality where this skill is part of what I execute every day, right? Like, I'm going to give you another example of this. Like, as a business owner, right, I need to understand bookkeeping, right? I need to be able to look at my books. I need to be able to look at a profit and loss and understand and all those things, right? I need to be able to understand that, but I don't need to be able to do it, right? Learning how to do my books was never something I wanted to learn. So I could have told myself, well, you're a brand new business owner and you need to know bookkeeping, and it doesn't make sense for you to hire a bookkeeper because your business isn't making enough money right now. And I could have said all these things about bookkeeping and forced myself to go, buy the $97 course and learn bookkeeping and torture myself in bookkeeping like that. No, that is not it energetically, right? Instead, going out and hiring a bookkeeper so I could be confident that I was making good decisions with my money and I could always have eyeballs on my money and I could always understand what was going on in the money in my business was an aligned decision. It was not a skill I needed. So that's what I want you to start thinking about. Am I amassing these skills to force myself to learn something that I fucking hate? Or am I amassing the skill because no, video marketing is really something I want to learn and something I'm really passionate about? That is the difference there energetically. Okay, reason number 5, and I am going to split us into 2 just based on time, just based on where we at time-wise and how long I like to keep these episodes and how I like to manage my energy. So I'm going to give you reason number 5, and then we'll do a part 2 for you next week, okay? So reason number 5 that you're doing the work and you're not getting the results is that you are talking about your problems to anybody that will listen. Okay. You are telling anybody and everybody about that one transaction that didn't go the way that you wanted to. Let me tell you about this last deal that I just put under contract. It was such a fucking nightmare. The buyer was crazy. The first offer we got, this person was awful. That person was awful. And then the inspector we got, the worst. And then I thought we were going to, and then so, and then they tried to get out of the contract. And we finally got it to closing. Thank God. Right? Like, what? Like, first of all, it closed, which yay, but you're not focused on that at all. Let me tell you about this transaction I survived. When you go back into the past and you relive that transaction and the anxiety and the drama and the stress and all of that, where's your focus? Where's your energy? There in the past. And now you're attracting more and more and more nightmare bullshit deals because all you do is tell the story about your nightmare bullshit deals. This is why people think that asshole clients are a thing. They're like, I don't know how you do real estate. People are just assholes. I was in real estate years ago and I did 4 transactions and all of them were awful. Yeah. Why? Because that's the story you tell. And here you are 10 years ago still telling the story about how bad it is, right? I think it's like, we talk about it because that's normal. We think, and especially as women in particular, because we are verbal processors, we tend to think that it is very normal to talk about our problems. We'll be in a group full of women and it'll be like, so-and-so has been having a really hard time falling asleep at night. And then someone's like, oh yeah, so-and-so, my kid's having this problem, my kid. And we're all sitting around bitching and moaning and talking about our kids' problems. What is that energetically, right? What is that putting out energetically? It's putting out that energy of there's more things wrong and there's more things wrong. Again, this goes back to number 2. If you truly believed that you were the one creating your reality and that your thoughts, feelings, and actions were the ones creating it, you would not continue to tell stories of things you did not want, especially things in the past. Like, what a waste of energy. Why not tell the story about what you want? And this is going to be the hardest one to break because this is so habitual. Every time you call your sister, every time you call your mama, every time you get in touch with that real estate bestie and you guys go have coffee, all you do is talk about your businesses and it feels like I'm just reporting the weather. I'm just catching her up on my life. That's how it feels. That's how it's seen and portrayed on the internet, right? That's how it's seen and portrayed on TV. But what you are doing is you are keeping a vibration of something you don't want alive in your attraction. So if you do want to tell your friend about what you've been doing over the past 2 weeks, tell her the good things that have happened over the last 2 weeks. Tell her about the deals that did close. Tell her about the time the kids did go to bed on time. It was amazing. Tell you about the time that your husband did take you on that date you wanted to go on. Tell me about the time that you did actually do the workout that you wanted to do. Why do we feel the need to sit around and talk about all the things we didn't do or we didn't like other than pure fucking habits? Right? Pure habits is the only reason that you do this, and you can choose to do something different. But this is very uncomfortable because it makes us feel like, well, then how will I connect with other people? How will I connect with other people if I don't keep gossiping with these people about this stuff? They'll stop including me, right? But here's the deal. Do you want to be included in a group of people where that's their primary frequency? And that's hard because there's probably people in that group that you really love and you're like, well, fuck. If I go down this path, this person doesn't get to come with me. But here's the flip side of that. Remember, you're the one creating it. So it's like when I continue to demonstrate what it looks like to be somebody who's in alignment, who's somebody's connected to their creation, who somebody is interested in these types of conversations. When I get up there, my friends come up there with me, right? I then become the vibrational set point of the group, right? I can sway the influence of the group. But here's the deal. You go once and you manage your energy, and you go twice and you hang out with those friends and you manage the energy. The third time you stop hanging out with those people. If you do not have a strong enough momentum in the opposite direction of what it is that they are bitching and moaning and complaining about, then at some point in time, you're going to have to remove yourself. But there is still the possibility that you can continue to be the one who sets the stage, who changes the perspective, who sets the energy of the space. But again, you have to do the work. I still don't have this mastered. It's really interesting nowadays in groups of people, I don't actually talk a lot, which is wild because I'm such a talker. Anybody who knows me is like, what the fuck? You're not the one domineering the conversation? And the answer is no, because I don't want to get sucked in. And so I just observe, and I observe with compassion. I observe with compassion, and I observe with compassion and gratitude that I don't focus on that anymore. Not in judgment. I'm not like, oh, I can't believe she's still bitching about those kids. Doesn't she know it's her fault? They still pee in the bed? No, it's not what we're doing here. What we're saying is, I have so much compassion for that woman. I remember before I started doing this work, how I felt like that so frequently. And I pray and hope that she can feel my love and acceptance of her, and that she finds a way through it. Like, I'm constantly just sending love and compassion. Am I perfect at it? No. Do I get catty sometimes? You bet your ass I do. Right. But again, I have to look at my results and say, is it worth it? Is it worth being part of that gossip conversation? Like, I'm checking myself here too, guys. This is why I always say I'm documenting the journey. The work that I'm giving you is the work that I'm doing every single day. Right. The only difference is I have a different point of attraction. One of my mentors has always said equal power, but different, right? It's equal power, but different. You and I are not on different journeys. We're just in different phases of the journey. That's all that's going on here. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I really do love that this turned into kind of a two-part thing, but the things that we're looking at, right? Reason number one, obsession with results. We've got to learn to change the scorecard. It will change your life, right? Reason number two, lack of belief. You've just finally have to fucking own. Go all in, right? One of the things Bob Proctor always says is like, your way isn't working. Why don't you try mine, right? Like, go just play with it for a little while and it will blow your fucking mind, right? Number three, you're chasing external fixes. You still think that you cannot be happy, fulfilled, connected until that thing outside of you happens, and it's what's holding you back, right? Reason number four, you're looking outside of yourself for the answer, right? You're giving your power to the skills. You're forcing yourself to do things and learn things that are not aligned. And reason number five, you will not stop talking about your problem, right? What you focus on expands, right? You can meditate in the morning, but if you gossip about your problems all day long, you might as well skip the meditation, quite frankly. That's not true, but you know what I mean? All right. I love you guys. I think you're amazing. Make sure you're following along on social media, and I will be giving you contemplations and everything inside of the Backstage Pass Facebook group. Oh, before we wrap up, the Facebook group, one of the things that I've been doing is I got a download around the idea of nobody teaches us how to study ourselves, right? Like, we teach the content, like, here's the how-to of how to create your reality, like I just did in the show. But it's like, what's the practical application of this, Ryan, right? Like, you just gave me this information. What the fuck do I do with it? And so what I'm doing inside of the Facebook group is kind of walking you through how I study the work and how I do the contemplations and the questions that I'm asking myself. And then I also share the answers and what I'm doing with it. So if you want to know, like, how do I actually make this work a lifestyle? How do I actually get involved in this conversation? You want to make sure that you are inside of the Facebook group. Make sure you answer, the membership questions to be admitted, and I will see you soon. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Uncensored Self Podcast. If this conversation cracked something open for you, trust that that's the work. And share this episode with a woman in your life who's ready to stop performing and start creating. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review. It helps this message reach the women who need it most. Remember, you're the creator. The rules are yours. And your uncensored self, she already knows what to do. Keep leading, keep listening, keep becoming.